And we are back. I'm James J, and this is Wrestling with Entertainment. It's been a while since Cooper went missing, and I finally found him. Um, he dead. So I needed a new co-host, so I searched the world looking for the best, greatest new co-host I could possibly find. And thousands upon thousands of submissions, and I had to narrow it down to one. Hunt. Now, please introduce. Now, my new co-host will introduce himself.
Hey, what's going on, world? Name's Coleco. They call me CeeLo for short, but yeah, it feels good to be here. It's good to be able to talk some wrestling, especially on a weekend. What better way to kick off a hard work week than just with some good old wrestling, right? So
Yeah,
I'm very excited. Nice opportunity. We'll see if we can make the most of it. I try to bring some common sense stuff, because too much conspiracy theories and things, but I hopefully could bring some new stuff along.
yeah, and it is a really good time for wrestling because last week was we had some good matches, good lot of crazy stuff happening, and we're going into Fastlane on Sunday. Hey, so lots to talk about.
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, so let's get started. We're wrestling with Monday Night Raw. Now it's been a week since Roman Reigns announced that he's in remission, and like wow, he's already full time on WWE programming again.
Right. Which is good. I mean, that's good for them because as much as people hate him, I mean, he is a draw. It's almost like I put him in Cena in that you know how NCAA Duke category. They're the team you love to hate. Everyone has a team you love to hate, whether it be the Yankees or the Celtics, the Lakers, the Patriots, Duke. All these teams that are polarizing. They're polarizing figures. So whether for better or for worse, they gotta be there. They're there, and it brings seats to the crowds. Whether you want to see them get beat or to see them get cheered on. So
Well,
it's a much needed boost.
I think he turned face since announcing he has leukemia.
Yeah, I mean, him coming back, we'll see how it goes. He looks a little lighter than what he used to because that dude is me being able to meet him in person. He was a very, very thick guy. So you could tell like he lost some weight there. His cardio is probably going to be not where it should be, which is, kind of like where he was, I want to say about 4 years ago, heading into 31. But he'll get better with time. So we'll see how it goes. They'll probably play him safe. He'll probably be the hot tag man in this 6-man tag. So you'll see how it goes.
Yeah, hopefully he's ready to go. He's probably training like crazy.
Oh yeah, he's training, but nothing replaces that in-ring cardio. That's for sure. You can do all the cardio you want, but there's a difference between practice and the real deal. So, yep.
So yeah, the first segment was Roman Reigns came out, talked about reuniting the Shield, which I think we all kind of saw coming.
Yeah, and with it coming, I can see where it confuses people a bit because you see Dean Ambrose finally come around, but then he cut this promo 6 months ago, and it's kind of like insulting our intelligence for him to go, "I don't need the Shield," and the Shield was holding me back. So it kind of puts it like, okay, you see, but I guess, they could have had a reasoning other than Roman being back in his life and F that to get it going. But at least make it tie together rather than trying to make it seem like two separate issues.
And when Dean Ambrose came out to talk to finally give his response, he got attacked by Elias, which kind of just seems like a random rivalry just to have out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's really it's random because especially when you think about David having him feud with Drew for the last 3 weeks. So if anybody had made sense, it would have been Drew McIntyre going out there and like knocking him out rather than Elias, which is like totally off kilter, especially considering what it's going to be Elias, Corbin, and
Lashley.
And Lashley against the Shield, which to me, I'm looking like, okay, I get it, but it would have made sense if one of those three guys did it rather than Elias. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's just to keep Elias going because he got the win at the end, but yeah, it just didn't make sense from a person, like a personnel standpoint. But
yeah. The next matchup was Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, and Bobby Lashley, and they defeated Finn Balor, Kurt Angle, and Braun Strowman in 14 minutes and 43 seconds.
Yeah, pretty solid match. I mean, to me, the confusing part is they started out hot with the Shield, and then they got into the Finn Balor, and they're trying to keep the momentum going to keep the crowd into it. Because the one thing you notice is the crowd, this week compared to last week. Oh my God, last week it was like, ugh. And this week it's more,
Well, it's Philadelphia, so they're always going to be rowdy.
Right, but it did seem rowdy because usually Philly's a heavy wrestling. Like when you think of like wrestling markets, you think, Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, maybe LA at times, depending. But, they just tried to keep that crowd going. And then the way that the match went, you would have thought Bobby Lashley was going to get the rematch at Fastlane because he got the pin. So, it once again, it's that logic where it's like, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anything's kind of coming together. But
right.
It is interesting to say that there is a new creative team. Bruce Pritchard is back. Dana Warrior is on the creative team now, and they just re-signed Jeff Jarrett to be on the creative team.
Yeah, they just got Jeff Jarrett, and then they also got Abyss. Abyss is running there. They got rid of Arn.
Didn't he come Didn't he go to NXT, Abyss?
No, they had him backstage at a couple of the shows there. So he's running. He's producing matches, as far as I know, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. It seems like Mr. McMahon is just trying anything to just get ratings up.
Yeah, that could be the case. But it's. I guess they're trying to get it to where eventually these two brands are going to be apart with Fox getting SmackDown in October. So it would make sense for him to try to beef up the teams, because in essence it's going to be two separate brands in a sense, two totally different, and especially with the way that I think their Fox's won SmackDown on Fridays. So it's going to be two totally different teams the way it was, I want to say about 15 years ago. So they're trying to, keep that going or get that beefed up at least.
And it's I'm glad you brought up the Fox deal, because it kind of feels like Fox is kind of controlling what's going to happen with SmackDown. But like you said, it being on Fridays, rumor and innuendo suggest that they want a two-man commentary team, and they want it to be more edgier. They don't want a PC SmackDown.
Right. And that kind of goes with what Fox if you've watched any Fox, whether it's Fox News, Fox Sports, Fox Money, they want to be kind of more on the controversy side, especially like if you looked at Fox Sports, like what's the name of the show? Undisputed. You know, they have Shannon Sharp on there, and he's drinking Hennessy, and he's over there smoking weed and doing all this other crazy stuff. So it would make sense for Fox to kind of try to be on the edgy side. I think they're also, and I also think they want more of a sport feel to it, which is the number one thing most people want WWE to be anyway. They get it that it's an entertainment aspect, but they also want that sports feeling, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if, you know, because it's weird that they got rid of the whole rematch clause thing. You remember they used to do that. So it wouldn't be surprising. It wouldn't be surprising to me if they did. See, to me, I thought it would be a little bit more sporty if they did rankings, you know, kind of like see where people are going. Because the one thing you don't want is people not to invest in your characters or your people. But I think putting some kind of a ranking system kind of makes every match seem important. And it kind of like doesn't insult the people's intelligence when, you know, someone loses 3 in a row and you have a gender where he's losing every match and all of a sudden he's a WWE champion and you're like, what happened? Like, so it makes sense from that standpoint. Now, whether they do it, that's a totally different story. But that would be something that, I mean, I would think Fox would want, because I know that they were trying to get Daniel Cormier to do some commentary on they want him to join WWE for commentary purposes. So it wouldn't surprise me if, you know, they put him with a guy like maybe Corey Graves and Morrow, because Morrow's one of the more sport credible guys that they have on their announce team. So it wouldn't.
I don't think WWE wants to touch Ronaldo right now. I think they're comfortable with where he is right now, unless Fox really, really wants him.
Yeah, and if they want him, they'll let him know. But just keep in mind, he's in that back pocket, and when you keep it, and when you throw in the fact that he's only going to be doing Fridays, which if the show goes on Fridays, he still has his schedule clear for anything else. Because I know he does a lot of boxing, a lot of MMA. So, you know, his weekends are free. And one of the things that he didn't like was the constant traveling. So, yeah, I can see your point, but he's in that back pocket. And if Fox wants him for what, $1 billion, 5 years, $1 billion, you bet they're gonna want something out of it.
Exactly. Next up to talk about the Triple H promo. Didn't really feel this. I kind of feel like Triple H lost his ability to do promos in recent years. Like he used Ric Flair's shoot name, Matt Cool.
Yeah, I mean, the promo was good. Me personally, I think it was good. But I think when he kind of lost me when he didn't throw in his name, right? Like he went kayfabe, he went with everyone else's real name except for him. You know, if he had made it more, because I guess he was trying to go for the personal standpoint, and who's not gonna sit there, you know, and not root for a guy who's trying to fight the honor of a guy who almost died, you know, a year ago. So it's more or less
the Charlotte is the daughter of Ric Flair, and we have had no comment from her.
Right. Oh, as far as that, because they got her twisted up in this whole Ronda thing, and
yeah, she's still busy with Ronda. Her father just got brutally attacked, but you know, I'm gonna focus on Ronda.
Yeah, I mean, true. I see where you're coming from, but I just think they're trying to keep that away, because it would have made sense years ago for her to do that because she kind of needed him. But she's at that point in her career where she can really kind of be in her own world.
But dude,
it's kind of crazy they didn't have her out there for the
her
celebration.
father got beat up, and she's
Yeah.
not going to at least make a comment about that.
Yeah, I get it. Like I said, I get it, but you forget this is WWE. They're gonna make you focus on what they want you to focus on.
Exactly.
And right now, it would make sense in her persona to not care about her father and trying to get the belt back. I see where you're coming from, but I'm also giving you the other side where it's like, okay, she's too busy trying to like get back to where she was, which was being a champion. So it would it make sense in human life for anybody whose family member to get beat up and they don't say anything about it? Yeah, that would be a lot weird. But this is WWE land, so you already know who the buck stops with, if you will.
I suppose. Next up, Stephanie made an announcement that Ronda dropped the title and that Becky Lynch's suspension was lifted and that she would wrestle Charlotte at Fastlane for the championship.
Now this
like it went out of nowhere.
Now this is where it confuses me, and this is how I'm gonna say this. So you're telling me Becky wins the Royal Rumble, which guarantees her the match at WrestleMania. She loses she gets suspended, loses that opportunity. She gets reinstated, but yet she still has to fight for the championship, i.e. / fight Charlotte just to get to WrestleMania. You know what I mean? It kind of got rid of that logic. The whole point of being the Royal Rumble winner in the first place is to get the title shot. So why would she have to go through hell and back? And I see what they're doing. They're trying to get more sympathy on her and get the crowd more on her side by having her go through all these hurdles to give her the comeuppance, if you will. But just the sheer fact of like the logic to me, you know what I mean? That to me is, now I get her fighting for the title and they had to throw something at it, but that logic just threw me off. That's like if Seth Rollins got suspended, came back, you mean to tell me he has to fight another person to get to WrestleMania to fight Lesnar? No, it
seems like now looking back on Monday Night Raw, it does a lot of things that don't make sense.
Right, like a lot of inconsistencies, and I guess that's what happens when you're trying to fill pay-per-view to pay-per-view, because
and there wasn't like a big gap between paid previews. Like this,
right.
Like Fastlane is like 2 weeks away from, or 3 weeks away from WrestleMania.
I want to say it's about 2-3 weeks. So that's even further. Like it's like beforehand they used to not even have a WrestleMania a pay-per-view in that spot.
Yeah,
they used to just roll the story to WrestleMania.
Yeah,
and that would be a lot better because you're trying to tell that story. It's almost kind of like how New Japan, when it's Wrestle Kingdom, when it's getting there's nothing blocking that road. They'll have a couple of events here and there, but that is what you're building to. And that tells me that WrestleMania is more about the name itself than the story. Because they'll turn on stories that they want you to get into, but the one thing you want is for every match on that card to mean something, right? Or every story heading to that point to mean something.
But the matches as of late at WrestleMania haven't meant anything. It's been inconsistent in that perspective. Like last year's WrestleMania would have sold out unless Daniel Bryan didn't come back. Like they sold like a lot of extra tickets when they announced that Daniel Bryan was wrestling.
Right, and that's Yeah, see, and that's my thing. It's like you want every because WrestleMania is supposed to be the end chapter to a lot of these books. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be the end chapter or the end book to a lot of these chapters that they have going on, and with them having to go to Fastlane and book that, and then have to go 2 weeks later and book WrestleMania, and
Which
it's
is
funny
probably going
because
to be around 11 to 12 matches.
right. So you would think that they would have the stories or they would have the matches already set by now. Like, but we only know in the card's not even finished. That's even the more puzzling thing because you're getting the triple threat with Becky and Charlotte and Ronda. We know we're getting that because that's what they're gonna push to sell the tickets because Ronda's the big getter. You're getting the bloody, you're getting Seth and Brock because that's what Seth chose. But the rest of that card, like, you don't know what you're getting, especially with, the WWE title, what's going to happen with that, the Intercontinental Championship, what's going to happen with that, the United States Championship, even the tag titles. Like, there's nothing, like,
set in stone,
definitive, right? Like, and usually you would have that already set so that way the match is stacked, you know how the card's going to look. But now it's almost like plug and play at this point, which, I mean...
And the thing with Seth, it feels like the main rivalry right now is the Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda. And it deserves that. But it feels like Seth Rollins won the Royal Rumble. He's the guy. He's going to WrestleMania. And it's kind of like glossed over. There's not really a storyline leading into it. And he's kind of put back with the Shield and kind of doing with that. Like, there's no inkling of a rivalry with Brock Lesnar coming.
Well, that's because one, Brock's never there, and then which is most people's main gripe.
But they have Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman could do something.
Paul Heyman could do something, but it's more about that face-to-face confrontation to see them actually do. The one thing that made WrestleMania 30 special for Daniel Bryan because you saw him getting screwed over week after week after week after week after week to the point where when it finally got to that point, you were like, yes, because I've seen the struggle there. Yeah. With Seth, there's no struggle. There's no struggle because Brock hit him and that's about it. So there's no retaliation. Two, they kind of stepped on their own match with Roman coming back, which overshadows a lot of things.
And they have to work Roman into the WrestleMania plans now.
Right. So that was the whole point.
Match with McIntyre?
I don't know because everything that there's innuendo, if you say that they're trying to go Roman Dean, but I don't. And that's my thing. It's like now we really don't know, but that's probably a good thing that we don't know because it kind of keeps everybody on their toes, keep them guessing. Because to me the best is when no one knows and no one has this. Oh yeah, I could read it from afar, so on and so forth. Because we trained our brains and we in WWE trained us to see where this is gonna go, but. Be quite honest, no one knows what's going to happen with Roman. No one knows.
The thing of it is, I don't think they know where they're going.
And that's the bad part. Now, if no one knows and they know, it's a good thing. But if no one knows and they don't even know.
Well, when they know, they make it obvious that they know. So when you don't know, it means that they don't know.
Right. So, yeah, no one, if they don't know, we don't know.
But we got off the rails a little bit. But the next match was Heavy Machinery. They defeated the B Team, the Ascension, and Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder in a gauntlet match.
Heavy Machinery was really good in NXT. And that's another thing, because...
I don't feel like they promoted them as much as they could have in NXT.
They could have, but my thing is this: when they make that transition, it is. I just don't get why. If you give them a name in NXT, then you take them up to the main roster and you get rid of that name because you want them to sound like all. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of the word, but it's Tucker Knight and Otis Drozovic, but they want to go Tucker and Otis, or you know what I mean? It kind of gets rid of, or Cien Almas, Andre Cien Almas. That was a great name, and they just put Andrade. So to me, that kind of gets rid of that mystique, but I also think that they don't put them in a. Some of them, they put them in a position to succeed, but more likely than not, they have a lot of people that get called up from NXT and it goes
I kind of
flat.
feel like it makes the B Team, the Ascension, and Curt Hawkins and Zack Ryder look like shit. Because, like, you have 3 teams that job to 1 team. Like,
Yeah.
you could have had a match with the B Team and an Ascension, and, like, they could have had a match and one of them won. I don't think anybody expects Curt Hawkins and Zack Ryder to win a match.
Yeah, that's the outlier. But what kills it is that not only is just the B Team, this is the former Raw Tag Team Champions B Team, not just any team. A team that actually got to that mountaintop, right? So I see what they're doing, and I get it. Not everybody, not every team, or not every superstar is going to be at the top of the card all the time. There's got to be some rotation, right? But this just goes back to my point where they don't make them matter till they want them to matter. You know what I mean?
Yes, you're absolutely right about that.
And that, to me, is not good because you want them to invest in everybody. You want every person on that roster to have some kind of connect or some kind of feeling of importance to the audience, right? And when you just toss them to the side like that and have them lose a lot of matches or have them do this and have them do that, eventually the audience is not going to care. It's almost like you turn them to the Cleveland Browns of the wrestling group because they're there, but we don't really care about them. You know what I mean? So
I get what you're saying, but like they haven't had like everybody matters since Vince Russo was there. Like that was like one of the only good things that Vince Russo brought to the table was everybody mattered.
Yeah, and I remember a friend of mine telling me that, like, Vince Russo may have been like, a dick or whatever, but the one thing that he did do was make but the one thing that he did do was make every person matter, and everybody kind of intertwined with somebody somehow. So it's like this 6 degrees of separation, so that way you could follow. Oh, well, this person did with X, and X got the Y, and Y is beefing with A, so it would make sense for him to go over there and do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they need more of that. They need more of that, not only for the wrestler's sake, but just for creative sake, just to make it seem, make it more continuity. Because especially when they're doing last minute scripts, and the show starts at 8 p.m. on a Monday, and they're still trying to finalize the script at 5 p.m. on a Monday. That's right. I believe.
They announced that Tori Wilson's going into the Hall of Fame. I hope there was some backlash from that.
Yeah, because people are trying to think, oh, Tori Wilson. And this is one thing. She did an interview with a good friend of mine, Dave LaGreca, and Bully Ray on Busted Open, and she made a good point where she was like, I may not have flipped off ladders like Charlotte, just to paraphrase, but she put in work, and that's the best thing you could do. She put in the work. Now, was it the greatest match of all time, or did she have a string of 5-star matches? No, but to say that she wasn't there at a significant time for them and made a big impact is to be kind of like naive to the fact, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, people need to understand that the WWE Hall of Fame, until they do a physical place or whatever, it's a place to highlight these people, but it's not the end all be all. They actually have a wrestling Hall of Fame, and they have people who actually vote for wrestlers in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. But
But
I
then
think
would
people
make you would say that doesn't exist and it's only the WWE Hall of Fame.
right, but anybody who is any of resemblance of a deeper than casual wrestling fan would think that there's a professional wrestling Hall of Fame. I think it used to be in New York, but I think they moved it to the Midwest. But the WWE Hall of Fame is just to highlight those people who were contributors. You know, there's people who think of the Honky Tonk Man shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. They're
That's
thinking
crazy to me. He's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. He
right,
deserves his space in there.
and that gimmick, as much as people like jumped on it, it was really good because he did really good playing a heel where he should have been beat. Any common person could beat him.
Yeah.
But he had those sneaky little tricks
basically
he would pull to pull it out. So it you know, he deserves it. I think a lot of people try to put the WWE and try to put them on into oh my God, Honky Tonk Man made it, but the Midnight Express didn't get in, or some of these NWA, WCW, so on and so forth cats, or these even older wrestling cats, wrestling stars didn't get in. And the funny part is that they have a Legends wing that's not highlighted like
at all.
It's not highlighted like the headline class, but it's still there, and that's where you see your Bobo Brazils and your Ernie Lads and your handsome Jimmy Valiants. Because it's funny, the Valiant brothers are in the WWE Hall of Fame, and people won't even know handsome Jimmy Valiant, WWE Hall of Famer. but it doesn't get highlighted as
because it's not a draw,
right? And yeah, it would draw, you know, in the South and so on and so forth. But the whole point of the Hall of Fame now is to get tickets, to get people to go. It became a thing where the fans wanted to see, and now it's all about selling out the arena, trying to get people that they want to see. You know, people want to.
I don't know if you watched the Edge and Christian show on the WWE Network.
Yeah.
But Christian said, I'd like to, if I was to get inducted into the Hall of Fame, I would like to go first. So there's actually people in the arena when I give my speech.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, Christian, he's getting in. He should be a two-timer. If anybody should be a two-timer, Christian should be a two-timer. One as a tag team and one as an individual. Yeah, former WWE Heavyweight Champion, ECW Champion, Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion. The accolades are there. I mean, but once again, it's just going over who comes in for what. It's just a matter of who Vince prefers and who's going to accept, because there are people who want Owen and Bulldog in, but they're not going to let that many dead people in at one time, you know.
Owen's not going in anytime soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a tragedy.
It is, but it's based on the family. It's not based on not based on Vince not wanting it. It's based on the family. The same thing with people like getting mad about China being in. Or saying China should be in by herself. I think this is a good way to get China in with the group. So if they want to do it by herself, it's more comfortable.
You're absolutely right. They definitely tiptoed around it to get her in without having her in singly.
Right, and people, and I have people that say, "Oh, China should get in, and Triple H and Stephanie should induct her." And I'm thinking, you know how awkward that would be based on that history. Yes. So, and that hatchet never got buried, so it's not. You know,
that's a shame, though.
and it's a shame that it didn't. But I think with her getting in with DX, it shields the fact, Sean's being going to be a two-timer, Triple H is going to future two-timer, and it recognizes the New Age Outlaws who's going to eventually get in, brings in X-Pac, who's going to get in, depending if they let him in with NWO. So you got a group of people who were with her at that time. People get mad that Rick Rude is not getting in with
Yeah,
DX.
I'm one of those people. I really thought that Rick Rude, he was a part of DX in the original Carnation, and he should have been a
Yeah,
part of it.
he was part of the incarnation, but right when they got to the name, he dipped. People forget that. Especially the one time where he was
No,
on
he was
one
right
taping of
behind
Raw
Sean when
and
he
ended up
said
on Nitro the
D-Generation
same
X.
night. So I mean, I get it, but they're not gonna. Nah. They
Uh,
weren't. They didn't become DX. I think until after he left. Uh,
no, he was right in back of Shawn Michaels when Shawn Michaels said the name Word D-Generation X.
but
And
I
I'm just
think
gonna leave it at that.
But wasn't that the same night like Rick Rude showed up with like at WCW? He did one where he did the
Yeah,
taping of Raw and then went to Nitro that same day.
I don't
So
know what episode it was, but that did happen.
yeah, it happened. So it's one of, and I see people's gripes, but I can also see where I can see them not, because Rick Rude, and also I'll say Rick Rude, he's a big name that he'll get in on his own merits.
He's
Like
already in.
he'll get in by himself. So he's
He's
not.
already in
It's
the
not
Hall of
like
Fame. I think last year.
I think he'll get in by himself. So he'll be fine. Rick Rude will be fine.
Alright, to my favorite segment of the whole show, Elias, sang a song of how he knew he was in Philly. And this was just hilarious to me. The amount of heat he got for this song. And it was pretty, entertaining to me.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I mean, that's basically what it is. WWE, the E in WWE stands for entertainment. So whether for better or worse, they're gonna have to do some kind of entertaining.
Yeah. Um, then, Elias defeated Dean Ambrose in. Alright, so Elias defeated Dean Ambrose in 8 minutes and 5 seconds. It kind of seems like Ambrose became a jobber since he announced like he was leaving.
I I don't think he's leaving, I, personally, and the reason I say that is they usually don't announce someone's leaving their contract 3 months before the contract ends, right? So, like when Ty Dillinger requested his release, they didn't
Publicize it.
say, "Oh, we're releasing him," you know, a week from now, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that seemed kind of odd for them to do that. That's not in their nature, because usually they'll announce the end of the contract when the
So are
contract.
you saying this is a work?
He's currently signed till the end of WrestleMania. They got him booked for some matches afterwards, and Roman's on the record trying to talk him into staying. So I mean, if those aren't three mitigating factors, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Because I don't see a company like that going, oh yeah, we're gonna release this guy at the end of the contract, right? Or
Yeah.
it just didn't seem, it seemed too odd to announce something like that
Well, I
way
kind of
before it happened.
felt like they just wasn't going to insult the fans' intelligence by glossing over it and saying no, that's not happening.
Well, and the only
That's how
reason
I took it.
nah, I don't think so, because even with the whole CM Punk thing, remember he was talking about leaving, but he didn't like they didn't announce anything about him leaving. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but that was like 5 years ago.
yeah, 5 years ago, but I wouldn't think that business practice of announce. You know what I mean? Like usually with a publicly traded company, you just can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's totally different. totally different to me anyway. To me.
So after the match, Roman and Seth came down to check on Dean and see if he wanted to join back with the Shield. Uh, then Dean left through the crowd. Then Corbin, McIntyre, and Lashley came out to attack Roman and Seth, and Dean Ambrose came to have the save.
Right. I mean, him making the statement once again. It's like having him conflicted, and it's almost like they're picking up where they left off when he was. Remember when they had the feud and he was kind of like choosing flip floppy, wishy washy. I think
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's almost like they picked up where they left off in a sense.
Well, it just kind of seems like if Dean is gonna leave, they're gonna milk this Shield cow until it's dry.
True. Yeah, they're gonna make this one count, and I think he's slated for another match as a Shield member. So that's why I'm more skeptical than ever that this guy is not gonna leave. I don't see him leaving.
And they must have a psychic back there in the locker room because they had the graphic all ready to go. The Shield versus Lashley, Corbin, and McIntyre. Like right after it was announced.
Oh, I think they had that announced when Roman came back.
Yeah.
I think that was like the moment he said, "I'm in remission." Oh, we already know where we're going.
So. Definitely. Tamina defeated Sasha Banks in 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Not really sure what to feel about Tamina. She's kind of just there, even though she won a match.
Tamina is to me like Natty that lost. They were stuck in that time where it was still divas, but they weren't quite there when they were on where the women are today. It's kind of like that lost group of pillars who were there. You know, kind of like I put Mickey James in that class.
Beth Phoenix.
You got Mickey James, Bex Phoenix, Melina, all those women who actually could wrestle but really didn't get the chance to like to do what they like to do. I think they're giving Tamina, people like Tamina and Natty, the overdue respect and booking that they should have got years ago. Just so happened that Tamina kind of got caught up with injuries.
I disagree because I don't think Tamina has that great of a personality. I don't think she was ever on that level.
But keep in mind when she was about to, not saying that she was like the greatest talker, or the best promo woman or ever or anything, but right when they were trying to get her to open up, she got hurt. Her body betrayed her.
It's just bad timing, I suppose.
She's a good hand. Yeah, when it comes to wrestling, everything is timing.
Yeah.
It's about the right time at the right place, and so on and so forth. Like all of this stuff don't happen, unless you get the right time at the right place, and it's the right moment. I think a lot of people tend to forget that because especially with wrestlers, we want to push people and everyone should get a belt and so on and so forth should be this or so on should be that. And it could happen, but it might not be their time, right? Like like Kofi. Kofi is over
long overdue.
Over like Rover right now. However, think about his timing. He's probably been in WWE for 11 years, 2008. So right when he got his push, Orton killed it. 2010, Cena was still running it. 11, right around 11 to 13, Cena was running it. 14, Daniel Bryan. 15, Rollins. You see, so it's just timing. Everything is timing.
And I think he kind of got comfortable and cozy in the New Day act because he didn't have to do as much. And people forgot that Kofi was an amazing wrestler.
I think that happened with Big E too. Like that, they're both good. Like Big E's a former NXT champion, people forget, but and a former Intercontinental champion. So he was good in the ring. It's just like I said, timing. People aren't buying into it, and now he's at a gimmick where people are buying into it. And Kofi put on two hella good matches. But once again, it's timing because guess who he replaced? Who was supposed to be in that spot?
More,
Mustafa Ali.
yeah,
So everything is timing. It's just a matter of the right place, right time, in the strike while the iron's hot. He just happened to be prepared at that point because this all of Kofi's part is supposed to be Mustafa's part because from what I'm thinking,
would have
I
it
wouldn't be
gone this far if it was Mustafa?
I think it was going to Mustafa because Mustafa would have had to get the belt. Like the whole point was to give him the belt at least for a little bit because keep in mind after WrestleMania it's Saudi Arabia and Daniel Bryan's on the record of not going to Saudi Arabia. Wouldn't
Yeah,
make sense for him to not have another champion, not in Saudi Arabia. Mustafa Ali, Middle Eastern descent from Chicago. He has that connection to that part of the world, and it would have made sense for him to walk in with the belt, Daniel Bryan get it back once Ali came back. But now with Kofi in it, I could see them giving that shot to Kofi.
yeah.
Just
I I
just
personally don't think that if they pushed Mustafa, that it would have been as significant as it was for Kofi.
nah, because Mustafa just got there, and but once again, it's to capitalize on that Indian market. It's they're trying to be global with it now.
Yeah,
But now with a guy like Kofi, who now they realize, oh wow, we've been overlooking him. He kind of deserves it, and he's been doing. And it's not like he's been resting on his talent because if they need someone to call in, usually it's him or Miz that does call ins and all the obligations as far as media is concerned. So he's there. So it's just a matter of him giving him his just due, and he'll be on that short list of Grand Slam champions. So
yeah.
that'll I think that's a good thing for itself.
Okay, the revival defeated Ricochet and Aleister Black via DQ in 6 minutes and 54 seconds. It's worth noting that all this information is coming from the Wrestling Observer.
Yeah,
So shout out to Dave Meltzer.
with that one, that match it was weird because it ended with how I thought it would, and a double
It ended in a
kind of
DQ.
like a DQ. Because the revival just got the belts. You're kind of like taking the rest away from them by losing the belt or losing these matches. Almost kind of like them, no one has faith in them, or they're making it seem like everyone can beat them. And that's where I'm trying to figure out which way they're going with that angle. Like either everyone can beat them, or they just are chicken, or
Well,
no
Dash
one.
Wilder said on I think Twitter, when you complain enough, your dreams come true and they give you the belts.
Oh, I mean, they're good. It's not like that they're bad, but I also can see where they're coming from because you got to think they came from NXT where emphasis was put on highlighting tag team wrestling, right?
And they
And
only
now they,
gave them the belts because they said they were going to leave.
yeah, they were gonna leave.
I think they
You
still
can
might leave. Because that Young Bucks revival matches, that's money there.
anything with Bucks and Revival. I already saw fuck the Revival all all over all over the world, all over in that match. But I can see where you're coming from, but they need to put like a lot more emphasis on their tag teams because they're trying to build the depth, and you could tell because they put two people who normally are good singles match competitors together, Ricochet and Aleister Black.
You know, that could have been Ciampa and Gargano, but Ciampa got injured and he just had neck surgery today, I think. It went okay. It went successfully.
Yeah, but even with the Champa Gargano thing, they still had Alistair in Ricochet in tag matches. Uh, yeah, it sucks that Champa's out. It really does. It puts a damn because he busted his ass off. He
And he was one of the hottest gimmicks in NXT.
Oh yeah. I wish they hadn't gave him the music though, because it was dope when he came out with no music. You just hear everyone hating him, just pure hatred.
I liked
Every
his
time you,
music. I'm just
every
putting out that.
oh, not saying that the music's bad, but I remember I went to a NXT live show here. It was before they gave him the music when he first won the belt, and he just walked out, and everyone just hated him. You just yelling and cursing at him, and every time he just raised the belt, they just go even harder, and it just made the crowd get more involved into it. The just the fact of the crowd being wanting to see him get his ass kicked, and that's what's missing now.
Yeah. Uh, uh, it was announced that Colin Joust and Michael Shea is going to be the special correspondents for WrestleMania. And one of the backstage um, segments, Braun Strowman, no, Colin Joust asked Braun Strowman, is wrestling fake? uh, Braun Strowman lifted him off the ground against the wall.
Yeah, now that oh my god, that almost took me back to oh my god, it's the old 80s video where he was like, I think it's fake, and the dude just slaps him in the face, and you think that's fake, and slap. It totally took me back to that thing, and that's what I thought was gonna happen. But we already know celebrities, and they're not gonna
When they
let
went to
someone.
commercial break, because that was like a 2 3 minute commercial break, I said before I went to commercial break, when they come back, he's still going to be in that position, and they was.
Oh, he would have to be. It would have to be. I thought, but at first I thought they were gonna let him do the whole open head slap, but that's just me. I was waiting. I was like, oh, let's see where this is gonna go. But I mean, it's just a matter of Braun. Braun has nothing going on. They got him involved with this. I don't know what they're gonna do with that. I don't know where it's gonna go from there. But
He's a hot gimmick, and it seems whenever they come around to WrestleMania, they don't have anything for him.
I think it's just more or less to get WrestleMania. People think I make this argument all the time. WrestleMania, yeah, it's the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl of wrestling, and it's to get as many casual fans as possible. To me, the wrestling card most people should care about is SummerSlam, because SummerSlam is like the what the AFC Championship was this year to what the Super Bowl is to WrestleMania. It there's more emphasis on the wrestling at SummerSlam than it is at WrestleMania, and that's not a knock because they have some good matches but the thing is that the emphasis is on casual eyeballs getting on that sports center, getting that news that gets retweeted a billion times. um that's what WrestleMania is at this point. And WrestleMania is more, and SummerSlam to me is more of the wrestlers pay per view.
I always viewed SummerSlam as the heels WrestleMania, because all the heels usually win.
Yeah, yeah, that too. So that's where I agree with that. That's usually where the heels win, or I would call it the John Cena curse up until a certain point, because he had lost like 6 or 7 matches in a row there. But but yeah, SummerSlam is to me the more important card most people should care about. WrestleMania is going to sell out because of the name. It doesn't build. It's built a a reputation to where it's going to sell out no matter what the card is, because now it's more about the gathering than it is about the actual event itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The next segment was uh Becky Lynch came to sign the whole harmless agreement when Ronda Rousey came out and uh took back her belt. Huh.
Right.
And she got a pretty good promo. Like it's been better than the one she's had as of recently, where it's just kind of rambling.
Yeah. I mean, Becky's hot, white hot right now. But the one thing that got me on this is because she signed the whole harm agreement, right?
Yeah.
Stephanie says, Charlotte, you can't touch her because I gotta wait for this paper to get notarized. Yet Rhonda comes down and beats her ass after you done told someone else not to touch her. You know what I mean? That just like what?
Well,
Like
she did say that to Stephanie that you're not gonna do anything to me because I'm money.
yeah, true, but still, like, come on, logic. I get it, but that just threw me off. And then to put the stipulation that Becky's out if she loses when the whole reason Becky won Royal Rumble was to get to WrestleMania. So that what they're just gonna take her spot? That you know what I mean? It plays too much into that, right? Like, am I the only one that thinks that way? I hope not, but
Well, the
like
promo
like
she said before she attacked Becky was that they booed her out of the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Personally, I was at that show,
oh,
and
you were too. I went to that show. I
oh
was there. Yeah, they didn't. Woo,
and
they.
I booed Ronda.
I was shocked. I was shocked
Were you
because
cheering Ronda? Because I was booing her.
I didn't cheer. I didn't cheer Rondo, but I definitely recognize the booze, if you will. Because I usually try to like I'll cheer when I need be, boo when I need be. But I used to love Ronda
I
when she
just
first
felt
got
that
into
she
MMA.
didn't earn that respect going up against somebody as of the stature of Charlotte.
I think it was more or less they were pissed that Nia screwed Becky.
That too.
if you will. I think it was more that should have been Becky's spot and anybody but Ronda. It was kind of like that ABR, anybody but Ronda, anybody but her
Mm.
type deal. Like I said, it's just the timing. Once again, this all goes to timing.
Well,
Which is
she
funny because that break of the nose was the worst thing to happen to Becky, but it was the best thing to happen to her because it got her even more over and more hot and more people want her. So
yeah.
it's crazy how that works. But yeah, at that show, yeah, she got booed. I just to me, I just feel like they're throwing Charlotte in there just for somebody either to be the pin girl or whatever the case may be. But most people want to see the Becky Ronda match. And plus, they've been going at it on Twitter forever. So
Yeah, what did you think about that interview Ronda did that broke kayfabe?
once again, they're not gonna fire her. Remember, she makes them too much money, and she's good on her own. But I just think that to me, WWE wouldn't let that fly unless they knew it was going to generate buzz. And it's generating buzz. That's basically what it is. It's all about generating the next buzz, keeping people's attention because especially in this short attention span world that we're in, where everything's in GIFs and GIFs and 5 6 minute video seconds, it's to get the people to keep their attention to get to where they need to go for WrestleMania. Um, I don't think that's nothing more, nothing less. Because if you think about it, her and Becky been going at it on Twitter, and it seemed more personal on Twitter than it does in the ring. But I mean, they're not gonna do anything to her. she's too big of a name. Like
Yeah.
you're talking about an Olympic judo champion, a UFC Hall of Famer, uh, first women's UFC champion.
And they really want her on SmackDown when they move to Fox in October.
Yes, and that's gonna come into conflict with people thinking that she's going to leave. So
Yeah.
it's a catch 22. It's one of those catch 22s. We don't know which way it's gonna go. But yeah, Fox is gonna want her. They want her because it brings it credibility. The same way Brock Lesnar brought credibility as being a fighter, and people get mad and still bring up the streak. But if you're gonna lose the streak, you're gonna lose it to a former UFC heavyweight champion of the world. That's not a bad person to break the streak.
I don't
But
even view it as UFC champion. I just view it as Brock freaking Lesnar.
yeah, true. But him going out and making that being that UFC champion brought him a lot more clout than what it usually has. Because keep in mind, if it was former NFL player Brock Lesnar, had he made the Minnesota Vikings, it wouldn't have the same sting as UFC champion Brock Lesnar, who beat MMA legend Randy Couture Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean?
I get it.
It's it's that clout, and especially in the MMA world where people, as for better or for worse, in the MMA world, crap all over wrestling. Even though to me, MMA is starting to become more wrestling than they like to admit, but that's a whole nother topic.
My
But
personal
yeah,
feeling is
it's
that
just
all other sports are work, but WWE is at least admitting that it's a work.
yeah. Wrestling is everything except wrestling. right, right. So it's that thing. But I mean, Ronda's too big. She's a big star. They're gonna get her clout, and that's just how it goes.
That wraps up Monday Night Raw. So next will be wrestling with the New Japan Cup. We'll be just previewing the matches. It actually came on the first night came on last night. I haven't watched it yet, but we'll just preview some of the matches. Uh,
Yeah, I haven't gotten to it yet too, but I'm looking forward to it. I got the New Japan World, so I'm gonna be up, have a couple of drinks, and start watching these matches because the first rounds, it's interesting how they bracketed the whole thing in the first place, and
it's
they put the
it just kind of seemed like it was filler guys this year with
well, you
the
got to keep in mind they lost a group last year. They lost a lot of heavy hitters, or they lost their biggest heavy hitter in Kenny Omega. And they got to kind of get people to get built back up, like your Okadas and your Naitos, and you know what I mean. So
yeah.
I mean, you got to get those guys built up. But
Well, let's
the
go
first
through it.
round,
The
what was
first
that?
well, let's go through it. The first two entrants is Tomohiro Ishii and Yuji Nagata.
I think I haven't watched it yet, but I'm thinking Ishii gets over because Nagata is more of an older guy.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, like, there's no really like, could he?
incentive for him to be right.
Yeah,
Like it's like the same way he was in the when he's in the G1. Like why is he there? Like what's the point? He's already done everything.
and that's
Um,
filler number one in my mind.
right. So Ishii should get the win. So I'm thinking he gets the win, but we'll check that out and see how it goes.
Yeah. Homa versus Taichi. I
Tight.
These are two fillers for me. I fucking
Yeah,
hate Taichi.
yeah. They're eventually gonna. They none of out of this first group. There's no one in that first group other than Ishii who you think could win the whole thing, which could make it even more amazing if anybody in those first matches win the whole thing.
um,
So
the next guy, Manabu Nakanishi versus Yoshihashi.
Yoshihashi, man, that dude stay putting in work though. Yoshi, little Yoshi, he keeps going. I give him
Yeah,
that much.
I already
But
know. Due spoilers. On his way to the ring, he tripped and he fell and he couldn't make it to the match.
oh no.
That's not that didn't actually happen, but I'm just speculating.
or he gets beats up before he makes the match and then it's a
No, he just tripped
forfeit.
and fell.
oh
Uh,
god.
Next up, Chase Owens and Juice Robinson.
Versus Chase Owens. Poor Chase. Poor Chase. He's all on his own. Poor Chase. We're from being like a little up and comer to like now he's on his own, like Patty LaBelle. Oh my god.
He's kind of like the
Everyone
lovable loser.
yeah, he is. he was went from Bullet Club protege and now he's the last one left. Almost. But I expect Juice to win this one. Juice got more credibility. He's a former champ in
He
New
is a champion
Japan.
right now. He's a United States champion.
Oh yeah, that's right. So see, so Juice should get the win there. He's also I will say this. I'm proud of Juice because Juice he bet on himself going to New Japan. Not a lot of people leave a machine like WWE go to another level, work their way from bottom zero, and then get there. Because you know a lot of those wrestlers they get released and they think they have the clout because of WWE.
Yeah.
We see it with like Big Cass and Enzo. With that, oh yeah, I'm this big clout. I should get this much, and for him to humble himself and start from scratch at another company and to make it to where he is, you can't like knock his hard work.
Yeah. The
And he
next
cuts good
match
pro
is
and he cuts really good promos, must say.
Kazuchika Okada versus Michael Elgin. There's no thought of who's not going to win this match.
Right. Like Elgin's there for the doubt, but come on, man. I love the Rainmaker.
Next up is Mikey Nichols versus Hikuleo.
Seems like two fillers to me,
Yeah,
just to me.
this is where I'm going with this. This is a match I'm interested in seeing. Will Ospreay versus Bad Luck Fale.
that guy, Bad Luck Fale, he was MIA for a hot minute, and now with Kenny gone and the Bucks gone and Cody's gone and now it's got to be him up to be at bat, right? Like
Yeah,
he's a big guy. No one's really gonna
he has the
can
credibility. He has
manhandle.
wins over Nakamura, Tanahashi, and Okada.
Yeah. So he's got the credibility. It's just a matter of will New Japan pull the trigger.
And I kind of feel like Ospreay is on his high horse, where he won the number one champion. It kind of feels like he feels he's untouchable.
Well, I mean, kind of got a way to do that. I mean, he hung with Okada in his match. So got to give Osprey a little credit.
Yeah,
Although
I give him the credit, but like
remember we went to the
having a unfaded ego because of it kind of turns me off.
it, a lot of people off. I remember I went to what was it? They had the New Japan show here and in California because that's where I'm at. And the whole time Will Ospreay, fuck Will Ospreay, fuck. So I guess they like some of the flips and shit, but not all of his flips and shit.
Yeah. Toa Hanare versus Lance Archer. Uh, Hanare another filler, but Lance Archer, I kind of feel like they could go with this guy.
They could to get him some credibility, But I think it just depends on who he faces next because it it's one thing to beat a Toa Hanare, but it's another thing if he makes it to the second round and beats, say, Juice Robinson or Ishii or a Balak Fale or even a Okada. You know, kind of like how when Kenny lost in the G1 and had took a loss to an unexpected loss. So, I mean, it's one thing to give him a win; it's another for him to actually for them to do something with it, right?
Yeah. We'll stay on top of that. Next match is Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Shota Uno.
That sounds like Tanahashi, right? That just sounds like
Like if there was a scale of like how the odds are nowhere in your favor, this would be that match.
yeah. This would be the one you go all in on, right?
Yeah. If I bet money, I would bet on Tana.
Yeah, that would be the one. So yeah, I mean, next
Next
match.
match, Tenzan versus Ryusuke Taguchi. This was supposed to be David Finlay, but David Finlay got injured, so
Yeah,
they
that's right.
replaced him. This is just bad timing.
But I think Finlay would have lost anyway. Because it seems like he's just there. They're not. He's there to get a little bit of credibility, but it's like they're not really doing anything with him.
Well, going up
He's always
against
that odd guy
Tenzan,
out. It's like he's always the odd guy out in the tag matches, you know. So I
yeah,
mean, he's
but
good.
like a win over a guy like Tenzan would give him some credibility, in my personal opinion.
Well, we'll see where it goes. I just, it's hard to put that faith in them because most of
Because
his
he's in a
wins
new
are always
faction in Ring of Honor, the Lifeblood. So I figured, like,
the
maybe
lifeblood.
give him some credibility, give him a win.
Uh, you could do that, but I don't know. Those crossovers, with the exception of the Bucks and maybe a couple of other people, they don't really give them a lot of love. I see Hangman Page if you want to see crossovers. They do good in New Japan. Like they get there, but it's like close but no cigar.
Yeah. Well, this is probably going to be the main event: Kota Ibushi versus Tetsuya Naito.
And I'm so glad that they did that. That was because those were the two favorites in from Jump Street. So now by putting them together in the first round, you don't know who's gonna win.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about that because they easily could have put Ibushi on one end, Naito on the other, and had them duke it out to the end, right? Because you kind of saw where it was going based on the name listing, but by putting them in the first round, it really makes you guess. And
New
it,
Japan has always been good at keeping you guessing.
yeah, and it keeps them honest. But let's just be real here. New Japan fans in Japan are a lot more. It's a way different than American fans. I will say that. More
Oh, without a doubt.
respectable. They clap when they clap. They don't try to make it about them. They actually enjoy the show, but they also see it as a theater. They see it as an art form. Vice in America, we kind of see it more entertainment, and that's not no fault of our own because we have the WWE telling you, "Hey, it's entertainment."
Yeah.
So I get before people try to bash me on it. I get it. I get it, but still, Japanese fans are just top notch people.
Next match, Evil versus Zack Sabre Jr.
That's an interesting match. That's a match I'm interested in because
Yeah.
Evil is good, really good.
I would be surprised if they maybe pull the trigger and let Evil win this.
True, I wouldn't be surprised if they because I think if for the brackets right, the winner of this match faces the winner of the Ibushi Naito match. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Evil Naito.
That would just be great.
And that would be really interesting. Because and that's the one good thing I like about the G1, just vending off. They make people in factions wrestle against each other. And
Yes.
that was that is great, especially when they had who was it? Tamatonga versus Kenny Omega. Oh my god, they had the whole Bullet Club thing. Oh my god, that was just gold. Just gold.
The next match is Togi Makabe versus Colt Cabana. Another filler match, in my opinion.
filler, filler comedy. I see this. I see that night is the comedy bracket because the next match I'm thinking you're gonna bring up is Toro Yano versus Davy Boy Smith Jr.
Hey, are you psychic?
The title cards don't lie, man.
That's exactly right. Toyota versus Davy Boy Smith Jr.
But I love Yano. I love Toro Yano. He's a funny guy. Really, really funny.
Some of my
Say
favorite
does.
matches are with him and Kenny.
Oh yes, him and Kenny. I remember they did the it was Yano and versus Davy Boy Smith's partner. And oh my god, pure gold when they were in Long Beach because they do
Yeah.
a couple in Long Beach, which is good for us because it's LA, huge Asian market. If anywhere they were gonna start, I'm surprised between here and San Francisco were the two good choices.
I was at that show too, and Yano was hot. People like Yano.
Oh yeah, Yano is. Oh my god, yeah. So yeah,
Next
Yano.
match, Minoru Suzuki versus Kojima.
This is another one. Suzuki Gun. I see the Suzuki Gun victory. Um, just for me because Minoru looks like the dude you do not want to sit in the alley with at night. So, despite his age, it just seems like he got better with age. Yeah, so I see Suzuki steamrolling and heading on up.
He could actually maybe win this too.
That would make sense. Only thing I couldn't see is him winning it after who won it last year. I think it was Zack Saber
Zack Sabre
Jr.
Jr.
So that you see, so that's the only thing that would hold him back. With Zack
Possibly,
Saber
yeah.
Jr. being the defending champion and all.
Next match is Hiroki Goto versus Sonata.
Sonata is another guy. He's another guy that's really good. Like the Los Ingobernables guys, they got some guys that you could see like making it. Like when when Evil fought Okada, it just put him in another light. Same with Sonata. Like those guys, you could see them in the future, like being a singles champion. Like even though they kind of put them together in the heavyweight division, and they became tag champions. But
Yeah.
Sonata's one of those guys. He's a young face. He has a good looking face for the ladies, and
If
he could
only he'd
definitely
talk
make
a
some
little bit
waves.
more, he would have the whole package.
But I think that's what the draws with him. Like he doesn't talk a lot, and that's it.
That makes what
The
he
fact
says
that he,
important.
exactly. So when he talks, you know he got something to say, and you're gonna pay attention.
It's there's a lot of as many fillers as there is. There's a lot of people that could actually go on and win this, and that's interesting. I think that should make for a good tournament.
That's what I like. That's what I really like about the New Japan because you can literally make an argument for not all but 95% of the people winning, and that's something where WWE kind of lacks the parity. Um, because sometimes when WWE runs tournaments, it's almost kind of like a foregone conclusion, and that doesn't really make it interesting like the G1. That's why everyone's really into the G1 and these New Japan Cups, even though they run them every year and they have the same group at least in the G1, but you could also see people coming out of those groups and winning it, right? So
Yeah.
that's what keeps it interesting. And the way that they match them up is really interesting as well. So I give New Japan all the credit on that. Gedo gets a lot of credit for that one.
Yeah, it's soon to be revealed.
Yep.
So that is it for tonight. Um, Shout out to Sierra Archer for our graphic for the show. Do you
Awesome.
have Twitter?
Yes, I do have a Twitter. I am Coleco is my Twitter name.
Okay. We'll put that in the description of the show. Well, if you like the show, send you some love. If you didn't like this show, you could tell them fuck off.
Hey, give us some good stars. If you don't, I'm inclined to believe you're a hater. And we don't need no hateration or holleration in this dancery.
And yeah, like, subscribe, comment. If you don't like the show, tell us why. There's a comment bar underneath the video, so use it.
Hey, use it. We got to give the people what they want. Like my man Jalen says.
And that will do it for tonight. This has been Wrestling with Entertainment.
Awesome. Peace.